Do not be the weather. I don't know. Have we never gotten that far? I don't think I ever heard that line.
I think we always dumped out of it before.
Yeah.
Just not do the weather.
We can fix that.
Jacki Schechner.
I love you. I miss you guys. I do not miss the 5 a.m.
No,
wake.
I don't blame you. Well, you were in here a couple of weeks ago to be on Ryan Knight's podcast.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's still available at sexyliberal.com.
Yeah, we had a good time. I think that I consider myself progressive, but I also like to think that I don't toe the company line all the time.
Right.
And I like to rein people in when I think they've gone a little too far. So Ryan was fun because he's not just on the Warren train, he's like driving the Warren train.
Yes.
And so he has little tolerance for any sort of critique.
Deviance from that. Yeah.
And I like it. I like challenging him a little bit.
That was a lot of fun.
I had a conversation yesterday with somebody that I know from the gym who is a German reporter who's here for 4 months covering politics.
Oh.
What was that like?
Yeah.
It was actually very interesting. So I was like, oh, wow, what do you think about all this? And he was like, I think Trump's going to get reelected.
I am worried about that.
And he was very insistent. He's like, Biden is the only one who has a chance of beating him.
No.
I know.
No,
I don't want to agree with that.
No.
But I see where he's coming from. And he said that Bernie's too controversial. Sanders turns too many people off. And he quoting him, he said that Kamala to him is too nasty to make it right now. And he cited her going after Biden.
Oh, please.
But you know what? It's interesting to hear the perspective of somebody from outside of the country looking at our politics and seeing this.
One of the points that I made on the Happy Hour podcast was that it does feel a lot like the house is on fire right now.
Yes.
And we need to put the fire out before we can talk about spending the insurance money on an addition.
Yes.
And I think that there are people who are done with Trump. They've had enough. They voted for him thinking, I don't know what they were thinking, but they voted for him and now they're done.
They want to change.
And they want to change and they want to vote for anybody but Trump.
Exactly.
And they're willing to vote for a Democrat, but they don't want to vote for a liberal. And that's their terminology, not mine.
Right.
So the idea is they do feel like some of these candidates are too far left for them. And again, this is not my personal opinion, but this is the thought process behind that. So is there a candidate that they could vote for and feel like they're not going too far left? And I think that's where Biden comes into play for a lot of people. There's a name recognition.
Right.
So those who aren't entrenched in politics right now because the general election is so far off, think, okay, well, I know this Joe Biden guy has been around a long time. I'd vote for him. But I think the closer we get to picking a candidate, the more people are going to see someone like Elizabeth Warren up against someone like Joe Biden. And there's going to be a real viability to that.
I also feel like Elizabeth, and I think this is part of what her appeal is for Ryan and for a lot of people, is that she kind of comes in somewhere between a Biden and a Sanders.
Yes, I see that.
For us.
She's
anyone who's in the middle or on the right, she feels very progressive.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And I think that it's important to explain what her policies are the way she does.
I think she's done a good job of that so far.
Yes.
She needs to do a lot more of that.
Yeah, she does. And I think what I'm reading a lot of is that when people meet her or see her speak, they're wowed by her.
Yes.
And they can be won over. But we got to get to that point. And
she was going to like places like Eastern Kentucky and holding rallies, and people with MAGA hats were talking about how great she was.
Yeah,
that's where
she can win people over. And I think it's going to be very boots on the ground, like politics and door knocking kind of thing, where people have to see her and hear her to understand what she's all about. Because if you don't know anything about her and you're a Trump supporter or have been a Trump supporter, I won't say if you are, because if you are, you're not voting for her. But if you have been in the past, voted for Trump, and you hear about Elizabeth Warren, all you know is Pocahontas. That's all you know. You know she's a woman. You think maybe she's Hillary 2.0, and you know Pocahontas. So they have to get to know her. They need to know what she stands for, what she spent her life fighting for, how she explains things, the fact that she's very credible and likable. And all of the things that people say they want in a candidate. So I think that there's potential. I just, and the one thing that does concern me, and I again, like I adore Ryan and I think he's great, is I think saying, she energizes, she does, but so did Obama.
Yes.
Right. And so it's not like we haven't seen that before. We have seen people energized by a candidate. And then people were sadly a little bit disappointed that Obama wasn't as progressive as they expected him to be.
Right.
Because he got kind of beaten down by the Republicans that he tried to make nice with, and also he really wasn't as progressive as people wanted him to be, because he just didn't have a history of being that as progressive as people expected him to be.
Exactly.
She tends to lean a little more progressive.
Well, also, I think the right painted Obama as way more progressive than he actually was.
The right painted him as a Muslim. Come on, like
exactly. And so I think there was that issue as well. But
right, I do. But so I don't want to put all the eggs in the enthusiasm basket,
Right.
Because we've seen where that leads.
Well, Trump also had enthusiasm on his side, and it goes both ways, and it can be good and it can be bad.
Yeah. So I want to put the fire out, and I one of the things I really like about Mayor Pete is that he's calming.
yes.
When he speaks, I just feel like
He's like a warm
I can I can take a little bit of a breath.
Right.
And that feels when Biden and Sanders, elevate, and and Kamala Harris gets into it a little bit too. Like when it's all elevated and heated, I'm exhausted and
Me too.
I tune out.
Yeah.
So the calming is nice.
Mayor Pete, is calming, but he can also stick the knife in and twist it just a little bit with a smile.
He does. He doesn't know how to. He does know how to do that backhanded compliment sort of thing.
Cory Booker does that for me a little bit too. Like I he's a little bit.
I remember during the debates you were talking about.
I really liked. He impressed me during the debates. I looked for, could this person take on Trump and win? Look, Trump's not going to debate. He's not going to debate.
No.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't have to. He's going to do a bunch of rallies.
Not good at it.
No, he's going to complain about it, and he's not going to do it. But if he had to go head to head, I look and say, okay, is this somebody I see going up against him? And sadly, at this point in his career, I don't see Joe Biden being able to do that. He can't out Trump.
Right.
And the mistakes and the gaffes are too much at this point. He's just lost a little bit of a step. It sounds a little ageist, but I do think it has to do with his age. I just think he's not as sharp and as quick as he used to be. And I don't think that he's our best candidate at this point beyond the name recognition and sort of the assumption that he's going to win. I would like to see us really put them all on a stage together and watch them.
And that will happen.
We're going to get that this time,
conversation.
finally.
Thank God, yes. Because if we hit 11 and it went over, I have no
could
patience
not
for that.
handle 2 nights of debate. And what's even weirder is we could, in the October debates, end up with 2 stages again. Or 2 nights.
Oh, please no.
No, they're saying
Are the
because
standards different?
The qualifications stay the same. It's 2% polling, and what you've racked up so far counts towards.
So someone could come back?
And because people are dropping out, like Gillibrand,
right.
Some people could rise higher in the
Oh,
polls.
I see what you're saying.
If Tom Steyer ggets 1 more poll, he's on the stage in October. We've got 2 nights. If Tulsi gets 2 more, she's on the stage 2 nights.
Yeah.
God. All right. Well.
So I never thought I'd say this, but
we're 15 minutes in and I'm depressed.
I know. We need some fun stack.
Never thought I'd say this, but I think the Republicans were right when they had the kids' table debates.
There's something to be said for it. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of. Nobody from the kids' table was going to move up anyway.
Right. But I think it goes against what the Democratic Party stands for. I mean, it may not go against what the Republicans stand for.
But I want to see our top candidates.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, get
going
Elizabeth
toe-to-toe.
Warren on the stage with the rest of them. Enough is enough already.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have this 2-night thing forever.
We're gonna have that in September. So
It'll be
that's a good
nice,
thing.
and we'll see how it goes after that.
Absolutely.
And even still, with 10 people on stage,
It's still a lot.
it's not.
It is good. Yeah,
That's not a debate.
Nobody's going to be able to get a word in edgewise.
Who's hosting this one?
Is it ABC?
ABC, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I think Stephanopoulos is going to be.
I'd like to let them do 2 things. One, I'd like them to frame questions not as like right-wing talking points.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like them not to bait the candidates to go after each other.
That was embarrassing.
It
what
is
CNN
embarrassing, and I'd like them to let people finish their thoughts.
Yes.
Don't let them ramble on, but let them finish a sentence.
Right.
I mean,
that would
CNN,
be
what was
nice.
it, 15 seconds they were giving people to
It
respond?
was so fast.
Stupid.
People couldn't even finish a thought. And
Yeah.
I get not wanting people to filibuster. And I get having time limits, especially with that many people on the stage. When you can't let somebody finish a sentence, it's like you're not even listening.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because you're moving the audience along too quickly. Like I'd like somebody to just be able to complete a sentence.
And I hope they don't frame it as a WWE wrestling match.
It's awful.
That
Hey,
was-
so-and-so said this about you. What do you think? Like,
Right.
that's not giving me any information.
No.
That's not moving the needle. It's not making any difference. And one thing I did want to jump back to, you said Elizabeth Warren having boots on the ground. Have you seen all the videos of Elizabeth Warren running?
Like physically running?
Physically running.
She's probably faster than I am at this
There's like there's like a viral thing of her like running through a field at a campaign event, like shaking her hand. There's one of her at the, I want to say it's the Gay Pride Parade in Boston, where she's got like a rainbow boa and is like high fiving and
Oh yeah, I mean she's energy personified.
is.
boots on the ground.
She
She could knock on every door in America between
she
now.
could.
Are they kinky boots or are they just boots?
You know, she could do it in kinky
Thigh-high
boots.
boots.
She could do it in
could.
thigh-high red kinky boots.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I mean, she's got that energy, definitely. And I think you put that up against somebody who's a little bit older, she's gonna come out looking good.
Yeah. And she's got the policies and the plan.
And she's not a spring chicken either.
No, but she's got a lot of energy,
Yeah,
and
she
that
does.
counts for something.
Yeah.
And there was an article last week where that she's starting to work really closely with the DNC.
Is she? Oh, that's good.
She is making moves to be
Good.
more like, and it was funny, I talked to Ryan Knight about this on text, and he says, I don't know if I like that or not, because then it's like, you know, it's for the activist base, then she's like aligning.
Sure.
But you know what?
Take advantage.
We cannot be divided on things like this. These are things that we cannot be divided on. If the
The
activist
DNC
base,
is not the enemy. Oh
No.
my God.
thank you.
Yeah, you got to stop with the purist
Yes.
stuff.
Right.
Like that's why we lose.
Right.
You can't, like, whoever the nominee is, you get behind them. You're not going to get. Don't let the perfect stand in the way of the good.
I keep saying this on Twitter. The Democratic Party it has the same purpose as a labor union. It is so that people of like minds can pool their resources and their money together to fight a common enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try and chop that labor union up, it does nobody any good.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons Republicans are so good at what they do is they all kind of band together and push
Exactly.
forward.
Right.
You don't have to be thrilled with the candidate, but gosh, get behind him.
And
Exactly.
one thing you said there about labor unions, I don't know if you saw this article yesterday. Approval for labor unions is at an all-time high
Yeah, I
since
saw that.
since the recession.
Was this before or after the United Auto Workers union head got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that one yet, but we'll look into that. We'll get to that story a little bit later.
Oh, you've got that.
I do have that story
Okay.
here. Not the UAW one.
I thought it was the UAW head union head that was his home was raided. Did I miss?
I will have to look into that.
Wasn't that whose home was raided?
Yeah, well, we'll look at that during a commercial break.
IRS raiding UAW president's home in
Yeah.
Canton Township. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There you
Okay, well, that story.
Is there another one?
It's that
20
story escaped, Travis.
The story I was looking at is apparently 24 hours old. They decided to retaliate against that. Okay, this
You're
is
watching too much cable news. That's
Right.
why.
Yes.
yes, I know that's why.
I'm evangelical now about my cable news rehab.
Especially after Lawrence
Let's
O'Donnell.
talk about that after the break.
Yes, we will.